This week, you're going to focus on Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is focused on race and ethnicity and how these two concepts still influence much of the way that our society operates and how we interact with one another. And I don't think I'm going to have to do much convincing to get you to recognize that how we treat people based upon how they look still plays a big role in American society. If that were not the case, we would not continue to see young, well, not only young, but African American men killed during encounters with police officers, or they die shortly after. There's got to be something going on in how the social institution of law enforcement operates, to the extent that even when the victim is Black and the police officers are Black, we see the same thing happening as we do when the victim is Black and the officers are white. I'm not going to get too political here, but I do want you to keep an open mind as you study this chapter. Hopefully you'll learn how you yourself might be prejudiced, how you may, without being aware of it, stereotype people or think of them in negative ways, even though you are not a racist person, right? None of us like to think of ourselves as being racist. However, interestingly enough, a sociologist by the name of Silva Bonilla has done studies, and he's written a book wherein he argues that we are such an interesting society because when you ask the question, are you a racist? Of course, everyone says no. Of course I'm not a racist. No. Why would you even suggest that? People get angry. And yet, Bonilla Silva argues, but how is it then that we are such a racist society, but there are no racists in this country? Those two things cannot be true. One of them is not true. And he argues that what is not true is that there are some people in the United States who are racist. So anyway, you'll learn about prejudice, discrimination. You'll learn about institutional discrimination. You will also learn about interpersonal discrimination. And as I said earlier, I hope that you keep an open mind as you study this chapter. I'm not asking you to agree with everything that is in the module, but I am asking you to keep an open mind. And remember this, just because we don't experience something doesn't mean that another person's experience is not legitimate. What I mean by that is I sometimes hear people say, well, I don't experience racism. I'm a person of color. If I don't experience it, then I don't see why other people argue that they do. Maybe as a person of color, you don't experience racism. That may be true. But it's also true that when others tell you that they experience racism, that's their truth, that's their narrative, that's their experience. It's their lived experience. And so try to recognize that even though you may not experience some of the things that are discussed in this chapter, that doesn't mean that there aren't other people who do experience these things. You also will take the second midterm, and as last time, there is a study guide in the midterm. In addition to that, there is a video in which I provide an overview of those 3 questions. If you didn't watch it last time, I strongly suggest you watch it this time. There are only 3 questions. I did not give you a question on chapter 6, so there are only chapters 7, 9, and 11 that are on this particular midterm. So I hope you all study well. I hope you all do well on this next midterm. And remember, after this week, we only have 2 more weeks left. So see you in the next video.